you can see like on you can see on Twitter there if you have the second monitor. I have 3, so I'm just checking. Let me check real quick if we are live.
Cool. Yeah, I see it.
Okay, seems like we are alive. So GM to everybody here in our audience, people. I hope people are joining. So let's give them like 1 or 2 minutes just to join to see. We have some announcements also to make, I guess, about the start of the workshop. I think it's going to be super massive. I hope so. But I'm gonna like
No pressure.
Yeah, I'm gonna make like grab all the info you can give us. Like I'm gonna do the notes, and yeah, and we can have a little quiz later on, something.
I'm excited.
Yeah.
Is this also translated, or how do you guys have this?
So no, actually, so we saw that basically, if our projects are trying to pitch in English, to the global audience, they should like at least understand all like in English, as well. So yeah. So let them, and if they wanted to translate, like they are always welcome. We have actually startups that are creating some live translation apps right now. So they can use them. I mean, but yeah, but all in all, our idea was to just to meet our audience with global projects, startups, with global VCs, and for them to just understand how to talk, and that they still like need to learn English to talk and to pitch their project and to sell their project, basically. Yeah. Okay, let's start. GM folks. Good day, good night, good evening, everyone. So grab your coffee, your mental notepads, maybe snacks if you're up to, because we are about to dive into something super epic today, I think. So today I've got the absolute pleasure of introducing a guy who's basically the Indiana Jones of Web3. Minus the whip, like you don't have the whip. So, but definitely with all the treasure hunting swagger. So it's Dan, the co-founder of Lucid Drakes and Lucid Ventures. This man has been out here making waves for years. Before the Lucid Drakes, he was cooking up startup magic with. Before the Lucid Drakes and Lucid Ventures, Dan spent like over 2 years, right? And the Solana Foundation, jet setting across the globe, building communities. Launch Solana hubs, some kind of crypto gardening, planting seeds to just invented great projects and hubs later on. Again, that's how this should work. He's been in trenches. He's seen the wins and probably left a few pitch decks that sounded like a Red Bull bot wrote. I don't know. Yeah, I think this guy is so everything. So. What's today's workshop is about. Dan is spilling the tea on how to craft Web3 startup ideas that don't just sound like super nice and sexy on the white paper, but actually solve the real world problems. Maybe give some old industries like a new look, a new wave of a new breeze of life. I don't know. So if you ever thinking like, oh, I've got this idea, but I have lots of buts. Spoiler alert, this is the moment. So Dan's the guy who's either help you turn the spark into the fire, or gently let you know that it's like delightfully not a good market for your idea, for your idea, maybe. So yeah. Okay, so let's grind up the energy. Massive shout out to the legend himself. Dan, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Andrew. Great intro. I love it. Love Kumeka. Love Ukraine. I got a chance to meet Karina and some other folks last year at Breakpoint, and love the energy. I used to work with Alevtina, and she was one of the at the Solana Foundation, and she was obviously a big part of kicking off Kumeka. So really happy to be here. Even after leaving Foundation, always here to support the ecosystem and the community. So yeah, a little backstory. At the Foundation, I worked with, and kind of like Andrew said, worked with many ecosystem communities across the globe. Started different super teams, from small, community gatherings to larger communities, hackathons, hacker houses, all these events. So really been involved and now with Lucid Drakes, which is a startup society, which is what we're coining it. And it's a small community of around 55 people, builders and investors, and founders, and trying to build, the most powerful network and expertise in the Solana ecosystem, and kind of bringing everyone together. We have a venture syndicate, so we're deploying capital in startups. Pre-seed is typically what we're really interested in. And really, that's ultimately why I'm coming to speak to you guys today, is because I've seen a lot of ideas, throughout my years, and a lot of incredible talent. Unfortunately, a lot of great talent sometimes goes to waste on bad ideas. So really, ultimately, what I'm trying to do here is help you guys find a new framework for ideas, and kind of validate ideas fast and quickly, so that you're not wasting your time. And that resources are used, efficiently, and on ideas that can potentially 10x 100x and get massive growth, and not only massive growth but real change, and supporting and providing value, ultimately. So this today will be kind of segmented in 3 different parts. The first part will be a presentation. I'm going to go over some some of my takes on bad ideas, and why we should really avoid them. Some really successful ideas in Web3 specifically, and then at the end, kind of a little framework that I like to use, and that'll be within the presentation. And ultimately, after this, so that'll be the first part. The second part, this will be interactive. There'll be a Google form, and we're gonna all work together and build our own ideas. And then at the end, we're going to have a big board and little database of a bunch of ideas, created by you guys, the community, and then we can talk about it, and really start to validate these ideas. So that's how today's structured. I'm going to present my screen.
Already excited.
How's that going? Cool, perfect. This software is nice. Cool. All right, building better ideas. So most ideas suck. Oftentimes we kind of get stuck in this trap of, we'll just start to build things, and then, they will come. But ultimately, most people find out that they never do come, and customers don't come, and that, just build things and it doesn't work. So that's like one of the biggest misconceptions. Also, you have to remember, especially in Web3, in this presentation, it's kind of broad around all of startups. You can apply it to, but specific to Web3, I think Web3 is probably one of the most competitive spaces in the world in terms of startups. You have a lot of capital, you have a lot of talent, and when you mix those together, creates this incredible environment of competition, which is great for consumers. Unfortunately, for the startups and the entrepreneurs, that means you have a lot of competition, and you have to perform. So you need good ideas, not just good ideas, but great ideas. And then ultimately, you can have a great idea, but timing arguably is more important. So, if someone wanted to launch a centralized exchange when Bitcoin just started minting, it wouldn't work. It would have failed. But do that, 6 years later, when there was actually demand, and there was a problem, it did work. So sometimes you might have great ideas, but the timing's wrong. So these are all some of these things that make a lot of ideas suck. Unfortunately, maybe they're good, but the construction of them together is not great. And then ultimately, this is kind of the worst case scenarios, and especially like for startup communities like Kumeka, or all these super teams and Lucid Drakes. The worst thing for these communities is to have really good talent with bad ideas, and that just makes their expertise useless, and this creates this horrible loop. So this is why validating ideas is so important, and not just from your startups, but your peers. Make sure you're question your peers and help them out, and really try to validate these ideas from first principles type of point of view. So some things to avoid. Just this is just from a high level, copy paste ideas, things like, oh, I'm just going to build a new aggregator or a new NFT marketplace or token launch pads, or kind of like a regular like the next pump fund. I'm just going to copy paste and do the same. These things don't work, typically because first movers advantage is quite powerful. So for example, pump fund, as they grew in the market fast because they were the first. They weren't necessarily the best product, because there were better products, but first movers advantage was key here. And really, if you do want to take on some of these types of ideas, like more mainstream ideas or things that have been already done, you need to have a strong value proposition, unique value proposition. You need to have something that's not just like 20% better, but 10x better. Something else, and this might be controversial, but passion projects. Don't get me wrong, passion is important. However, it can really make you blind to a lot of key business concepts that don't align with some of your goals. So I think like really coming at it from hey, what's your key goal in mind, and keeping this as a North Star, instead of I want to just ensuring that everyone's in line with what the core mission is, as opposed to just hey, I love this industry and I just want to work into it. That's kind of a different thing. So avoiding that, and then honestly, one of the biggest ones that I see often is just using Web3 in unnecessary ways. A lot of people will just say, all right, we accept Web3 payments. Unfortunately, like I said before, timing is arguably more important. And right now, 99% of transactions are still made on credit cards. So having a Web2 product, but having a Web3 payments, there's no demand for that right yet. So having like and not saying that like our hope is in the future the demand will be so high that yes, we're going to start to implement these things. But you shouldn't implement Web3 products if it doesn't make sense or it doesn't actually improve the user experience, because you have to remember Web3 makes self-custody in general just makes adds additional hurdles, and putting your customers through that friction is very difficult. So they're not going to go through for 20% improvement. They're going to go for like a 10x improvement to whatever they're trying to do. Okay, so that's a bunch of like blurb on bad ideas, things that like you want to avoid. I think the best thing to do is really to start to see what good ideas look like, and then you'll understand this like kind of pattern that I've developed over the years in terms of thinking of ideas and building this framework. So instead of like diving in on specific projects, let's just go on like as a whole. So centralized exchanges, I mentioned this earlier. What's the problem that they're solving? On-ramping, trading, and custodying crypto is difficult. Their customers are retail and institutional investors, and their fee model is quite simple, just transaction fees on volume. And they identify like the successful exchanges like the Coinbases or the Krakens of the world, or Binance. They identified this when the market was small, right? And they identified that the market was going to grow when in 2014 or 2016, I don't know the exact dates when these companies launched, but they identified that, hey, the market is going to keep growing. The demand for crypto is going to keep growing. That's why, building this makes sense. So clear problem, clear customer, clear way to generate revenue in a growing market. Stablecoins. What was the problem? Unable to do things like DeFi and payments without stable denomination. This was very difficult. Who's the customers? Web3 enthusiasts, but not only that, businesses in general for doing payments and startups building payment applications. Fee model generating yield from deposits. Circle crushes this, and they make a lot of money from this. And same thing, growing market. They identified that this need was going to only grow, and that's when the timing of them doing this in I think like 2017 area or starting to work on that. They only identified that things like DeFi and payments are going to be important and it's going to grow. But they started that when it was, not necessarily obvious at the beginning. But same thing, clear problem, good, clear customers, and clear fee model. DEXs, things like, Uniswap or Radium, these things, no ability to trade. What's the problem? No ability to trade in permissionless environments and access instant liquidity. Not only is it no KYC, but you're able to access liquidity instantly and get that final settlement, which is, you don't see this in traditional markets. Customers, Web3 enthusiasts, and trading firms. Fee model, transaction fees on volume, simple. Also growing market, identifying that there's going to be more people that want to use DEXs and decentralized exchanges over time. So clear problem, clear customer, clear fee model. Borrow, lend, things like Camino. So what's the problem? No ability to borrow against your assets in a permissionless environment, and doing this fast, right? Traditional markets, if you want to get a loan on your assets, and Web2 takes a long time. This is able to get instant liquidity. Customers, Web3 enthusiasts and trading firms like the previous one. Transaction fees on volume based on the borrow lend, and the market is growing. So these are kind of concepts of ideas. We have teams like Camino that have built this, but same structure: clear problem, clear customer, clear fee model. I wanted to dive into a couple specific projects on Solana specifically. So things like Jito. Validators are less profitable without the ability to build efficient blocks. So Jito comes in and creates a block engine that reorders blocks in a way that is maximally profitable for these validators. Who are their validators? Clear customer. Who are their customer? Clearly it's validators. And their fee model is simple. Transaction fees, they get a percentage of all volume created, and they identify that the activity on chain is only going to grow from here, and so this growing market, and they're starting from a place where that's not necessarily obvious. So same thing: clear problem, clear customer, clear fee model. Solflare, users are unable to manage their crypto assets. It's difficult if you want to self-custody your keys. You don't want to use the command line. You want to interact with dApps. You need a wallet. Web3 enthusiasts are the and I guess trading firms and anyone using DeFi or Web3 products. And fee model, transaction fees on volume traded based on within their app. Simple model. And they identify that more people are going to want to onboard and create their wallets. So same thing, the clear problem, clear customer, clear fee model, and they only think that this is going to grow. The last one, Metaplex. So users are unable to mint and create digital assets in a non-fungible way. Who are their customers? Developers, creators, studio or startups, people with different ideas coming together and using these concepts. Fee model, every time there's a mint, the very simple fee goes to the Metaplex DAO. And then again, market is growing. They think that the demand for digital assets are going to grow. So I know I'm repetitive, but clear problem, clear customer, clear way of making revenue, and the market is growing. So hopefully that wasn't too much, but I hope a lot of people were able to see kind of this like pattern of having a really good problem, knowing who is going to, actually, who are you solving that problem for, and are they willing to pay for it? And is this, this person that you're identifying, is there going to be more of these people over time? So those are kind of like the 4 questions that I like to typically ask, myself or others when I, evaluate a pitch deck, or I'm evaluating just an idea in my head. So how do we build an idea framework? Or Andrew, everything good on your end? Any questions or?
Yeah, not yet. I'm just like making notes, and I'll ask questions at the end. So yeah, I just don't want to interrupt you, all good.
No worries. Feel free to interrupt if there's anything. I know I speak fast sometimes, so if I am, please cut me off. So yeah, all right. So building an idea framework. So kind of going down in those 4 components a bit more. Tackling important problems. Focus on solving problems instead of building features. A lot of time you're in like feature mode and just make things better. Kind of reverse engineer and see like what are the problems that those features are trying to solve, and focus on the most important problems for your customers first. Focus on problems with little to no current solutions. I think this is maybe controversial, but however, I think like you want to have a unique proposition that no one else has. You want to have something that no one else has, or a way of doing things that no one else does, and that method being superior by significant margin. So there could be other solutions to that current problem, but your solution is just significantly different and better, and you want to have that, that unique solution in a way that gives you an edge. And then get creative with solutions. So being a startup, you have this advantage over other larger companies. Like, let's say if Coinbase wants to start building in-house products, they're a corporation, they have to follow more guidelines. They will move slower. There's more bureaucracy. Where you all are individual lean entrepreneurs and able to pivot and do things fast. So don't be scared to experiment. Experimenting is like where most of the really good ideas come from, and thinking outside of the box and doing things that other players aren't doing. I think that's really important. If you just follow the other people, and their ideas, you're just going to get where they're going, but you'll never be first place. You really want to get outside of the box and just start to think for yourself and creatively on how to tackle these problems. So that's tackling important problems. Identifying your customer, this is extremely important. So deeply understanding, like to understand the problem, you've identified the problem, but what does that problem mean to your customer? How do they, is this like such a huge pain point for them? Is this like, I can live with, it's not a big deal. Are they, have they been searching for a solution forever? So really understanding, what this problem means for them and why. And understand how they currently deal with this issue, right? And how much money and time and energy this solution can save them. And the more you can save them, the more of the better your product will be. And especially you want to find this Goldilocks zone of hey, you're providing a lot of value and no one else is doing it. And that's like where the best kind of area you want to be. And also just understanding their demographics, location, wealth, age. A lot of Web3 products are financial. So, a big component of that will probably be going to investors, traders, types of people, and understanding their, like who they are, what their wealth gap is, or what their, demographics are, so that you can build products around them and fee structures that make sense to them. Willingness to pay. This is extremely important. So sometimes you have, a great solution to a problem that does exist, and that might be a good problem, but it just doesn't provide that much value in return. So like, as an example, if I go to the supermarket and I get a shopping bag, to bring my groceries back home, I can pay, 50 cents for a regular, plastic bag, or I can pay $20 for a high-end, beautiful bag to bring my groceries home. At the end of the day, I just need to bring my groceries home. So I'm not going to, even if it is a better solution, I'm not going to, there's no reason for me to pay, because it doesn't provide that much value to me to bring my groceries home in a really nice bag. So I'm just going to take the cheaper option. So make sure you're building, you're solving problems that provide value, so that your customers will actually want to pay for your product. And the more value that you provide, the more value that you generate for those people, the more you'll be, able to generate, fees or income from this, and build this like healthy relationship with your customers, where they feel they're getting a lot of value and you're also getting a lot of value back. A growing market. This is also one of those key pillars that are super important. Identify how many people are currently dealing with that problem. So let's say you've outlined everything currently. So like you know your problem, your customer, they're willing to pay for it. Is there going to be more of those people over time? And how many currently right now? I think like, a lot of the ideas that I outlined previously, it wasn't necessarily obvious that there was a lot of people dealing with those issues at the beginning. Like when centralized exchanges first came out in crypto, it wasn't obvious that a lot of people wanted this product. But that's when, like, there's this area of before it's obvious, because if it's obvious, there's going to be many people building, right? So if it's not obvious, then you have this opportunity to be this first mover's advantage. So finding, niche problems, but that will grow over time is kind of like what you're almost looking for. And like, you really want to believe that, hey, you're not just going to see like, a linear amount of users grow. really an exponential. Like you want this like demand, like we've seen with centralized exchanges is such a good example, that the demand for centralized exchanges, the demand for crypto grew exponentially. It wasn't linearly, right? In 2017, everyone decided to do it, and this growth curve was insane. So trying to find where you are in that growth curve, because it's oftentimes like a long tail. The beginning of the curve is very long, and then all of a sudden, boom, it flies up. So trying to get in the zone where you can build just before the market explodes is where you really want to be. Okay. That's it for the presentation I have right now. And then we'll roll into the exercise. Before we do, Andrew, any quick questions?
Yeah. Let's show some few questions we have right now, and then we can go to the exercise. Okay, the first question you can see on the screen.
Have you seen any monetization models that have worked outside of the standard transaction fee model? Yeah, I think the best one is Circle with USDC. I mean, they kind of take transaction fees, but their real use case is, putting the capital that is backing the USDC to generate yield. You can kind of do that with LSTs in Solana in some way. So, or like if you had a product where you had Sol and people, but the demand for the product is arguably more important. I think things like, if you have a consumer application, things like subscriptions and things you see in Web2 are totally, valid and shouldn't be kind of forgotten. It doesn't necessarily just have to be on, straight volume. But oftentimes that is a fee structure that works well. And the reason it works well is because it's kind of hidden from the user. They don't feel like they're paying for it. They're just going to swap. Yes, there's going to be, there's going to be some slippage and there's going to be, some capital inefficiency, but at the end of the day, it's a very popular fee model for a reason, in my opinion. Hopefully that answers your question, Migo.
Is it possible, like, or have you seen the monetization models with build your own subscription? For example, there is an app, right? Every subscription has like few tiers, right? Like it's like basic, premium, super premium that gives like additional features or tools. And have you seen like any subscriptions that gives you like you're building your own subscription, so you're just taking the tools you are like using and you are paying for them as in the unique subscription, pre-subscription stuff? I don't know.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. The issue is not the subscription. The issue is, why should people even subscribe? Like, if whatever you're building provides real, like, people want it, they will pay for it. The way you sell it or the way you package it in the subscription is almost irrelevant. What you really want to focus on is actually providing value. Like the real issue, if you implement those subscriptions, is not going to increase the demand of your product. You want to increase the demand of your product by making it more useful or valuable for the customer, and then they will go through the subscription ways to get it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, got it. Yeah.
So next question: how important is it to secure institutional partners early on, like B2B audit certifications? I think so. It depends how early on you are. I think for like an MVP, it also really depends on your product. So if your product is custodying customer funds in some way, or if there's ways of losing customer funds, I would not put that live until there is an audit. And then, however, if you're doing a consumer app game on your phone and there's not much risk, then you can have more flexibility on that side. So it really is going to come down to the risk. But if that's a blocker for you, I think there's ways around it where you can, build an MVP, raise a bit of capital, if it's kind of a venture aligned idea, raise a bit of capital, get, enough to do an audit, and then start to MVP it in the real world. But yeah, it's going to depend on the risk ultimately for an audit.
In terms of institutional partners, would you like, as a VC or as a fund, would you like suggest that for the projects that if they have money to fund their own projects at the moment, they should use that, then go to like the venture projects and ask for additional funding?
So sorry, is the question like if I should kind of use my own funds to build this, and then yeah. So I think like obviously it's dependent on everyone's perspective and financial kind of niche, but I think raising capital adds a lot of risk, and raising capital puts more pressure. So if you don't want that pressure, it's not just like easy, hey, raise money and then we're good. These investors are going to ask a lot of questions. They're going to put pressure on you, and ultimately, if you really believe in your product, you probably want to have more ownership in your project. So by being a bit more lean and not taking capital early on, you'll get more of ownership of the project. And if you really believe that this thing is going to 100x, then that's what you're going to want. And if you don't believe that, then you probably shouldn't be raising capital. So so I think like ultimately believe, if you like really find a great idea, deeply believe in it and that you can achieve it, work on it until you can't. And if you can't, and it's really early stage, find an angel to give you 50K runway or something, and then trying to work towards a pre-seed and raising a bit more. But really make sure when you do raise, you're raising with a purpose and it makes sense. Raising to raise ultimately will just ruin your reputation and cause a lot of stress in your life.
Yeah, got it. Thank you. That's okay. Let's go to another question.
So what specific metrics or traction would you expect from a project before considering investment or grant support? I can't speak on the grant side, but for investments, it really depends on the valuation that people are asking. So if you're asking for 50 million valuation, then yeah, the metrics are we're going to want, like if it's DeFi, you're going to want to see TVL, you're going to want to see a lot of traction, you're going to want to see user growth, you're going to want to see this. If your valuation is 5 million and it's way more of an MVP, then it's you don't need as much or right, but you do want to see the drive from the founder, and like part of that is that, so the investment thesis is a bit different. So yeah, it really depends on what valuation you're raising at. The higher you go, the harder it will be in terms of having you'll just need more traction, more metrics. But if you're early stage, then you need less, but it's going to be more focused on the idea, the team that's able to execute it in the plan.
Okay. Let's this be then like the last one for now, and then we will go like to the Google form, and then we will like repeat with the questions. Yes. Cool. It's basically people are just bumping you. They want to know more. Like give us more time.
Well, we'll give him more. We'll just we'll do the exercise too. I think the exercise will be a lot of fun. Okay. So is it better to pick rare solutions with much of value, or common solutions for a little profitability but in great numbers? So I think the question is it better to go for like a solution that solves for a smaller amount of people but you get more of the pie, as opposed to getting a solution that has more a problem that has more solutions but for more people, so the market is bigger? I think ultimately is going to depend on your actually on this slide here, market growth. So if you believe that the rare solution that has a lot of value for that small number of people. If you think that small number of people will grow, like if there's a reason in your thesis in the future to believe that there's going to be a lot more of those types of people that have that same solution, then go for that. If you want to tackle a problem that has a lot of, solutions or people involved already, it's just going to be significantly harder, and you need to have a very strong, unique value proposition, or else you're not going to, capture customers. Cool.
Okay, let's go to the form.
All right. So I will.
Okay, Ksenia, can you just copy paste the form into our chats as well? Yeah.
I just put it in the private chat, so anyone can scan this QR code.
It works.
Perfect. Cool.
It works. I just checked. So.
Okay. So if everyone's on it, all right, I'll give a couple minutes to start. So basically, what we're going to do here is we're actually going to outline an idea together. The way that, I was framing a lot of the ideas in the presentation. So we're just going to go one by one. Get started with, you put your name, and we're going to have 3 minutes to do each of these. So there's going to be 4 questions in total. It should take about 12 minutes.
Okay.
So the first question is, outline your problem in detail. Okay, we'll be everywhere. Perfect. Thank you, Ksenia. So yeah, first question is really outline the problem you're trying to solve, and put your name up front. But yeah, outline the problem you're trying to solve, and go as deep as you can. Feel free to, even if you put words that don't make sense, that's fine. Kind of go as think fast and throw some ideas down. So I will put a 3-minute timer, and then we'll get started. Go for it. Too bad there's no background music or anything. I can't sing.
Yeah, like like in a Kahoot or something like that. Yeah. No, that's okay. That's okay. Maybe like without the music, it's easy to concentrate. So
yeah. Are you doing the exercise too, Andrew?
Yep. I'm with you guys. Cool. I'm with you.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm just like, I have some ideas. I know that like they can be outdated, but so yeah. From after I leave the bank, I work in the bank for 6 years, and like the one thing I know that I never want to go back there, So I started the crypto, and basically my idea always was that I want to trade, like to be a professional trader. And basically what I found out for all these years that like I do everything like good except trading. Like I'm kind of super bad at this, So yeah, so I still have ideas with trading.
So now you're a community leader.
Yeah, and I'm a community leader because I'm a bad trader,
I did the same. It's funny. Horrible trader. So I've become a community leader.
That's probably how this works.
All right. About 20 seconds left. finish that off. Cool. Okay. Next, you can just press next here, and we'll do the second question. And this will be actually, I'm going to put 2 minutes. I think 3 minutes was too much. So this one will be outline your customer and demographic. So you're solving this. So you've outlined your problem that you're trying to solve. Now, who are you solving this for? And really describe, put as much detail as you want. You know, who is this person? Where do they live? How old are they? What do they do in everyday life? How much money do they have? All these things, anything that you can come up with in terms of, you know, this person, really outline this. So we'll do 2 minutes.
Okay.
Twenty-five seconds.
In terms of demographics and the age, would you say that at like in 2025 and 2024 there has been like more young people coming to the crypto, or more older ones, like from like 40 to 50? Like, I'm not saying like people like 25 to 40, that's like probably the age of mostly of the investors in crypto, yeah, but is there more use here right now, like coming to the crypto, or more like other people that are looking for ways to invest in some like safe, or to like invest in some safe tokens or something?
Yeah. I think I don't have data on this. My hunch is lower younger people are coming in faster than older people. I think that's probably more with the wealth gap as opposed to, so like you know, a lot of people view crypto as a way to make money, and I think a lot of people that are younger right now don't have the same opportunities as like their parents and things like that to make that amount of money, and that money being able to buy a house and things like this. So I think there's just such a large wealth gap, especially on the younger side. So they're going to have to take a lot more risks to kind of get to where they want to go, or where their parents were, for example. So I think that's probably driving a lot of demand. I really hope that crypto goes beyond just making money and doing things, but unfortunately that's still like one of the biggest product market fit right now is trading and being able to make money faster than traditional markets. So I think that's driving a lot of the demand, but ultimately I hope that, you know, web3 tech can actually help solve and make products better outside of just, you know, creating wealth. Anyways, next question.
Yep, well, let's go.
Okay. Please outline in detail how fixing this problem provides value to the customer, and how you will actually generate value from this. So what does this provide to the customer, and what's the customer giving you in return? How are you going to make money from this idea? And 2 minutes starts now. Okay, final 20 seconds. I see Andrew's fingers typing very fast. So. That means you have lots of ideas on monetization then, right?
Oh shit! I forgot the monetization. Yes, shit. I was just doing like I was stuck on the value. I'm like, I have to bring lots of value.
Classic Solana builder. Forget about making money.
Yeah, they will pay me later. Like, we will figure this out.
Yeah, yeah. Slide 1: build and they will come does not work.
Yeah, that's it.
Do as I say, not as I do. Okay. All right. Last question. Estimate. Can you estimate the current size of the market? So so you've identified your customer. How many of those people exist in the world? And what's your reason that you think that, there's going to be an exponential growth in the next 5-10 years of that specific person?
How you can like estimate the market size actually? Like, how do you think, like, is it, for example, 1 million people? It's like a lot or not for market size?
Yeah, I mean, a million people that have that problem that you want to solve is definitely a lot of people. I think there's different ways of estimating kind of your TAM. If other people, if it's a problem that, like think how they're currently solving it, right? And those products. So how much are they spending on currently solving that problem as a way to see the current addressable market? And that just, takes a lot of research. But honestly, ChatGPT is really good at also making kind of estimates and helping you. And,
Yeah.
if you're in a pinch and you want to kind of just rough some ideas quickly, I'm not saying it's great, but it is there. It works. But yeah, if it's a current problem that people are encountering, how are they currently managing it, and how much money are they spending from that? Is the best way to see like the current set. And if not, And if it's a new problem, new use case, then, how much value you're providing to that person, how much are they willing to pay for that value, and really trying to estimate how many of those people are currently out there, and how does that grow over time. Anyways, that's 2 minutes. So when everyone's done, press the submit button, and now we're gonna create a massive list of all your ideas in one big sheet here. And if we did it right, we should have some entries. There we go. Okay.
Yeah, don't be angry if we don't have like a lot. People can't write as fast in English, like they still stuck on that. So
No worries, no worries. So yeah, take your time. Maybe if you're not done the form, just go. You can click on the back button and go back to other questions as well.
Yeah,
I'm gonna stop
and
sharing.
just
this
like
now.
try to use ChatGPT, DeepL, like translators. You can just
Cool.
write in
I love.
Ukrainian or in your own language, translate it, and then like just put it in the form. It still works. It's still your ideas.
Yeah, and then at the end we have a big list of a bunch of community ideas. I think that's powerful. Yeah, and then you guys pick the best ones, incubate for the hackathon, and crush it.
Yeah, that's how this works. Hackathon is on its way. So yeah.
Cool. All right. When we'll let people keep putting their ideas in, and if people want to share, we can speak about them out loud. If not, we can just riff raff on questions from the audience.
Okay.
Cool. Yeah. While we wait, do you want to? Is there any other questions from the audience we can tackle?
Yeah, sure. Ksenia, can you put some questions on the screen?
Is access to your Discord only through buying an NFT? You can join the Discord for Lucid Drakes, but access to all of our chats and access to Lucid Ventures and our deal flow and events, that's all gated through the NFT. We use the NFT as a membership. Initially, the Lucid Drakes started as a group of people who traveled to all these hacker houses and conferences, and you kind of saw the same people going to the same events. So we started making NFTs around that, and just as a friend group, 3 years later, turned into a very powerful network. And now, just how can we push this further is the next step, and really, access to the NFT is how you get in.
So does anyone that has like an NFT for Lucid Drakes or like Lucid Drakes is contributing to like Lucid Ventures or to Lucid Drakes, or like there are some passive ones that just hold an NFT doing nothing?
I think our ratio of people who have an NFT to and contribute and participate is very high. So like last breakpoint, over half of our holders attended the event that we held, and I think it's very rare to get over half of a community to be able to participate in an IRL event. A lot of people many over the majority of people have participated in Lucid Ventures through different deals. You're not going to get 100% of participation rate, but I think our participation rate is really high, and ultimately, we want our members to do what's best for them, and their success and their ventures is our success. So, providing more value where they care about it is ultimately the goal.
Got it. Okay. The question.
When engaging with early adopters through different activities, what motivates them the most to be active? Money, rewards, talking about the stage when product doesn't have lots of trust yet. I love this question, and I think most people do this totally wrong. And I think in the beginning, when you're like MVPing a project, you shouldn't have to worry about getting a bunch of early adopters. Fine, the numbers don't matter. What really matters is getting like 10, 20 people that you trust, and you build a relationship over time, with them so that they can become your core small community. It doesn't even have to be 10, it could be 5. But just like finding that core small foundational community, the people that really believe in you, in the product, in your vision, and that will help you get feedback from this. So I think like early on, money rewards is not something you want to focus on at all. You want to focus on oh, I'm by myself now. I don't know if this is still live, but we'll see. Oh,
It is. Sorry,
okay,
like
good.
backstage me. All good, all good.
Cool, man. I got scared there for a second.
That was a prank. Sorry.
You got me. You got me. Dan, you're in front of everyone. Figure it out. Anyways, so what I was saying is, yeah, I think in the beginning, you don't want to track the people that are there for money. You want to track the people that are there because they really like your product. And that just takes time and going hand in hand and talking as a founder to people. Like this is not something you can automate, nor should you. This is something that you want real conversations, and you as a founder should be in those conversations with those customers, even if it sounds like, you know, you're too good. Like, I'm a founder, I should be focused on bigger things. No, this actually solving problems for your customer is the most important thing. So you need to be talking to them directly, and they will feel valued if the founder of a project is asking for their input. So make them feel like they're heard and that they feel valued. And that's like the first thing you should do. Then you can start to build more complex, you know, strategies around that to start user acquisition. But in the beginning, you want to find the right people, and those right people will really set the foundation for the rest of your community going forward.
Would you say that the market has shifted from quantity to quality in terms of community? Basically, like let's say in 2020s, like 2021, there was like projects were just booming with the communities that were doing lots of AMAs, bounties, and Twitter, and then we're just funneling people to their Telegram group, and they just sort of like, hey, we have huge Telegram group, hundreds of thousands of people there, like we have super big community. But basically, that was more quantity, like just a number. It wasn't a quality community that we're using the projects. Would you say like that right now in 2025 it's shifted more to quality, that the projects are not chasing fully like the numbers in their community, or not?
I mean, I hope so. Ultimately, everyone should be focusing on quality over quantity. Quantity, unfortunately, in the Web3 world, like really doesn't mean much because most of it's bots, and like these are things you can buy, and like
Yeah.
you know, so like if everyone has bots and everyone has kind of like a lot of people, then what's like the next step up? And that's like having quality, having real conversations, having real people that care. And I think like I have my best chats, like the best conversations I have are with smaller group chats, right? Like it's not necessarily with big, you know, massive telegrams where everyone's really just there for price go up most of the time. And the actual idea is kind of lost. So I think like, and that's another thing too. I think, you know, as general advice, like the token shouldn't be the product. Like most of the times the token's the product. People just want to buy the token so the token goes up. But like your product should be the product, and that's solving a problem. You know, the problem that a lot of people are like tokens being the product. The problem you're actually solving is so people can get rich, and that's not a problem that you want to solve. So having a token that, you know, your main driver should never be to launch a token. It should be to build and solve problems. And if a token integrates with that, then, you know, amazing. But if not, you can do other ways, and there's more creative ways like securitized tokens and STOs and things like this that are becoming more available. So, anyways, kind of went off the rails on that one, but hopefully that made sense.
Just a follow-up question on the quantity of people. Would you say, as we see like Lucid Ventures, if you see like the slide on the presentation where let's say like we have 1 million followers across all our socials, would you say like this is a red flag? You would say like, yes, this is bullshit. You don't come for 300K investment if you have like million followers. Or would you say like, wow, this is a great number. Like I should dig into this project. Maybe it has some potential because it's like 1 million followers.
I don't think it means much. Like it sounds cool, but like if you're an investor and you're buying this thing because of that, then you're probably not a really good investor. I think like it's not an immediate red flag, but it's also not an immediate like, oh, amazing. I think it's just like we have to look a bit deeper, and then once you get in the social, and you can just tell, right? You can tell if it's real people, who are championing, a project as opposed to just a bunch of bots or farmers that just want to make money and stuff. And so yeah, it's not an immediate red flag, but it's not an immediate green flag either. It's just like, hey, we're gonna need to look a bit more.
Got it. Thanks.
How can we best balance the Web 2 familiarity with Web 3 innovation to onboard non-crypto native users? Great question. I think now more than ever, there's a lot of developer tools for abstraction. So like people don't necessarily need to create wallets anymore, or they can have that abstracted from the user, which is quite powerful. Drip did this with their mobile app, which was quite nice. TipLink also has some great products that you can build. So I think like ultimately, I sound like a broken record, but like whatever, Web3 should make your product better. And if it doesn't, and if it's just going to cause more friction for your users are, even if it's like equally as good, the extra friction they will not go. Even if it's a bit better, they will not go. If you really want to onboard Web 2 people to Web 3, you just have to make them care. And like if they do, they will download a wallet, write down 12 words and put their credit card in to buy a bit of SOL so that they can interact with the protocol. I think that the it's not about how to onboard Web 2. It's about how to make Web 2 care about Web 3. And just ultimately that just means building Web 3 products that are better than Web 2, which kind of goes back to my original kind of thesis around ideas. But hopefully that makes sense. If you really want to, like, there are a lot of tools to abstract away the Web3 side, like TipLink, like I said, and some other ones that I forget off the top of my head. But I think the real thing is, why should Web2 people care? The onboarding is the easy part. The why they should care is the hard question to really answer.
Got it. Okay, we still have one question. Yeah, sorry.
All good. How the fundraise really works? Is it just through personal connections or by somebody's recommendations? I think you have to be at a stage where you're ready to, get capital. So this would be, you have an entity set up, you have lawyers who are creating the agreements. You have, defined SAFs or safes or token warrants all lined out. You have your evaluation. You have, your deck, your presentation deck ready. So there's a lot of groundwork to even get to the point of like starting to ask for money. And then, just going out there, like, it's a lot of work from a founder. You just have to reach out to a lot of people. You'll get a lot of no's. Most things will be no. You get a lot of rejection, and that's fine. That means you're trying, and that's a good thing. And then this is where you refine your deck. But like in terms of personal connections, like you definitely do need to come out of your comfort zone, utilizing tools like Kumeka or communities, and that can help you get in front of people faster. Is kind of a shortcut. So getting integrated within those communities is good. But yeah, and just finalizing your pitch and getting everything ready is arguably probably the most important part. And if that side is good, right? If your idea is good, your pitch is good, your valuation's good, your agreements are set, your legal's set up, and if all that is really good, then you should the rest of raising capital should be easy. And once you get an initial investor, they will start recommending you ideally to their network, and we'll kind of go from there. But yeah, refining the pitch and the groundwork before is the most important part, or one of the most important parts.
Follow-up Yeah, more than 800.
Oh, wow.
Wow, that's a lot of people. Hey
No
guys,
pressure.
hey guys, yeah, no pressure. So, would you say like follow up question for me on that? Would you say that the winners of like different hackathons are like the project wins some like places like the second, the third, the first one on different hackathons, different tracks. It's boosting interest for the VCs. Like for example, they come to you, they have a page. You see that they are not like maybe they are not like good fit for your investment, but they won like some big money prize like on the previous hackathons. I'm not saying like the breakout, but the Sonic hackathon, etc. Somebody's watching on Solana. Would you still like say like, okay, probably if they won, I have to dig in more and see maybe I missed something on that. Um,
Not necessarily. Like just because you win a hackathon doesn't mean your idea uh is in line with like venture capital growth. So like venture capital is looking for things that have this exponential curve of user
mm,
adoption, right? This market that's going crazy. And that's where, you can have an investment that goes, significant multiples, right? And that's what a lot of venture capitalists are looking for. You can build something that's a great product, um, and that wins a hackathon. That is not necessarily venture backable, right? If like you're solving a use case for your small community, right, and that's great, and it's like really providing value, but like that market's not going to grow exponentially. There's no reason why a venture capitalist would put money into that, because they know that like, hey, here's the ceiling for this project is low, which is fine. Like it's providing real value to the people around it. And there's still probably ways to get money around it, but VCs are not necessarily going to be like, hey, this is great. Like maybe you should probably talk to like people in your local community who have a bit of money and also care about the thing that you're trying to solve, and like, get some money that way. But not all ideas that are going to win the hackathon are good for venture capitalists. And just because they
but
win a hackathon doesn't necessarily mean, and like I know Coliseum is geared towards that, so it's probably, but like just in general though, just because you win a hackathon doesn't necessarily mean it's great investment.
But did you have like some cases on your experience, like so for example, there was pitch and you say like, yes, this is a great idea. Unfortunately, there is a ceiling on that idea. I don't see like the exponential growth on that. But if you do the pivot and do like this, we can turn back to your like application again in like few months. It's like, for example, you're not saying them no, but you're giving them the hinge on how they can break the ceiling or like like go from like look it from another angle, something like that.
Yeah, potentially. I mean, um, I think it's also like, if you know that it's going to be a no and you're not interested and you still have feedback, I think it's still valuable to be upfront and say, hey, so we're not interested. We don't want to like keep, towing you on for a long time. Being honest is like really important. And, from the founder's side of things, like being able to take that honesty is also important, right? Okay, you know, nowhere like keep built maintaining those relationships with the VCs are very important, right? And you can still pitch and they say no, and then they give you feedback, or you just start iterating and things change, and then they start to see growth. Uh, then they can come in as investors. So you still want to keep that maintaining that relationship, but I think it's just really important for you to kind of be humble and be able to take no and rejection, very well. It's because you're going to get a lot of it, and it's not necessarily you. It's just a lot of external factors sometimes that just don't align, and that's fine. Um, but yeah, I think like if the founders are open to pivot and understand why, but like also the investors might be wrong. Like it's not always that the investors are right. Like
We're all
sometimes
human beings after all, right?
yeah, we're all human beings. Just because they have access to more money does not necessarily mean they're smarter. So you as a founder also has to stick to your guns, and if you really think that um, your ideas, you're onto something. There's many such cases in the world of founders getting so many rejections and then just keeping to it, and they were right. So yeah, just because a VC says it's a bad idea does not mean it's a bad idea.
Did you have like some cases from your experience that, like, for example, there was a project, you said no to him, give them the feedback of good, then they like just coming to you on the, like, for example, the break point and saying, hey Dan, like, how are you, like, we were the project, so we made some changes, like, and like, do you want to talk about this? And it's like you're like listening, etc., etc. You say like, okay, let's still be a no, thank you, and then they like coming to you on the crossroads and saying like, hey Dan, it's we again, like.
Yeah, don't do that. That don't like that's how you ruin relationships. You know, like
Okay.
sometimes people don't want to spend money, and that's fine. You can still be their friend and talk to them. But if it's always like, hey, like about like, then you
And
just
patient,
yeah, that's not good. Like, I think like having a bit of humility and being humble is important. And just recognize that it's about communication, right? So if it's about recognizing maybe the other person just doesn't want to, and that's fine. And not forcing them or making them feel uncomfortable is important.
Okay, got it. So are we going to the list? Do we have some like answers there, some database or not? I just
We
do.
have 10 entries here. Let's I don't necessarily want to screencast just because I don't want to share ideas if people didn't want to share. But if anyone did, we can go through it. Does anyone in the audience would like to speak about theirs, and then I can go over it if we want.
If Yeah, if anyone who shared the idea, okay, but we should like probably add him to the StreamYard.
We can, or I can just discuss the idea of what I see here. Up
Yeah,
to
yeah,
you.
yeah. Let's do that. Let's do that because this will take some time if somebody would want to um, explain the idea. It's yada yada, and we still
Yeah,
have to like add him to the StreamYard and see if everything's
yeah,
going.
yeah. No, I'll just go over their submission. So if anyone wants me to go over their submission on stream, I can do that right now. If not, we can keep
It,
going on
it could
here.
go on over mine. I was just like writing
Cool.
from the top of my head. Yeah,
Let's
so
try it.
like I can be the guinea pig. I'm all for it.
All right, all right, all right. I'll try not to be too hard on you. You gave me such a good intro, so I'm not going to be hard on you.
Okay.
So outline the problem. So help people creating trading AI for themselves so that it evolves into an investment advisor, be user friendly and self learning, can make people put trading strategies, etc. Like a basic butler for your trading investment portfolio with reminders of balance. Great idea. We've invested in a very, very similar idea to this not too long ago.
So like
Um,
I'm just like do a little like for history. So my idea actually, what I wanted to create, how I envisioned this. That this guy is gonna be like talkative to you, like a Gemini, on the phone, like that you can talk to him, and he can, like, if you give him some like additional access, for example, from your app to the phone, he can like say like, hey Andrew, are you sleeping, the markets are crashing, we should rebalance. And I'm like, so please rebalance. And he's like, I don't have the access, please do that. And you're like waking it and deny, but he still helps you, he still talks to you, and he's like self-learning on the strategy of how you want to trade. Is this if your investment is like you want to have aggressive investment or like more passive, he is like can analyze the markets of how you can teach them to analyze, or he has like some pre-gained additional features that like we as a project can give him. So yeah, that's what I just.
Cool. No, and would this bot trade for you, or would it tell you what to trade?
It can do both. It basically so the idea is like, for example, when you're waking up as a trader, right? You are starting to analyze all your like tokens, coins, or like forex, and see like looks for the patterns for the trader, for example. This bot can do that for you if you'd like, for example, learn him how to do this. Like, I'm looking for this with this. I'm looking for the imbalances, the stuff. And like when you're waking up, you're drinking coffee, you already have like the list of the potential starts you can do. And afterwards, you can give him access and like small amount of money, for example, to trade and see on the history if he's good. But the major decisions is up to you. So it's
Yeah.
like two ways.
Cool. No, I like it. All right. So who's the customer? Traders, starting traders, profitable traders all over the world, 16 to 60, workers, bank workers, people who want to invest but don't know how to, people who know how to invest but don't have much time to do DD, people who have time for DD but need to push strategy investment, kind of all in one. So I get what you're saying. However, when you want to think about customers and demographics, you tip like this product will apply to almost anyone, right? Like anyone,
Yeah.
anyone trades. Like everyone can trades mostly anyway. So, or in some way, shape, or form. But I think when you want to build products, you almost want to be like, what's this like one person? Like if one person walked in the door and like they had absolutely everything like that I needed, what does that person look like? And then obviously it'll apply to other people, but typically when on the customer side, you want to be like really, really specific and like so that you can understand like why this problem affects them more than everyone. But obviously great answer. Just typically I like to be very specific when it comes to the customer demographics.
Yeah, I got it. I actually have one. So I'm taking like I'm in the office right now, and like one of my partner, he's an architect. And basically, I was when I was thinking about this AI bot, I was thinking about him because he knows something about crypto. He has money, but he don't have time. But he want to invest, and he doesn't have like much time to learn the stuff, but he wants to invest the money, and this is
Yeah.
like kind of him, like the strategies, this is how this works. So he could come to me and say, hey Andrew, like look, I invested this, and I'm like, I am up to 5%, and I'm like, I'm happy for him. That's
Yeah.
probably the main goal.
Exactly. So someone who's busy working, has money, but doesn't have time, like that, and
Yeah,
like that's more the direction you want to drill, because if you go in that direction, you understand their problems more deeper, right? Like
yeah, yeah,
why can't they do DD? It's because they have a job, and then they have kids, and then they have a wife, and then they have to like do all these other things, like So, anyways, you get the
got
idea.
it.
So third question, outline the value, that this provides to the customer, and how this, how you'll generate from this. So your answer is this will bring an AI trading investment helper that will talk to you, need to find your needs, provide the solution strategy to your needs. We'll explain how it works. We'll do a bunch of stuff for you. We'll show you on the data and investment trading, analyze with the scenario, and adapt to your trading strategy for you. Yeah, great answers. There's a lot of like value and things that they're getting from this. I think when I think of value, I almost like to think of like how the person's like, yes, here are the concrete things that they're gonna like give you or but also like how's this gonna make them feel? What's this gonna allow them to do? The value from this is not the features, but the value from this is the time that they save, right? So
Yeah, lots of time, and
yeah, and
basically yes, and like analyze data, like he can like show you the data on how much you trade or investment, like, or your portfolio is it like follow down, and he can help you to adjust it to the market conditions,
yeah,
that's what's
yeah, that's great. Cool. Last question: how's this market going to grow, and where is it currently at? So millions, the growth because users are coming to crypto, and there's a wealth gap for younger people. Exactly. Like we're
I
talking
just
about.
miss yours. I mean, like
No,
you
it's
said
good.
about wealth, I was like,
It's good. Copy paste whatever you think is good. We're all doing it. But yeah, I think obviously this is a hard question to answer in 2 minutes. To do a market analysis very fast. But I think you're right. I think people are valuing their time more. They want more time on their hands, but they also want to make money. So this is a product that can kind of suit both in the same scaling issue, like these products are hard, because if millions of people are using this, then everyone's on the same strategy, then no one has an edge. So then it's like a double-edged sword. But it's a I totally agree that
yeah, but it's not an algorithm, so that's why it's
Mm.
AI. So it's adapted to your strategy. So if you don't want it to go like risky, like you use the risky strategies, or you see the signals, or like you can add some additional features to the strategies that is already pre-made. You can adapt it. So basically, it's like one strategy, but everyone sees it differently. That's how it works. It's like, yeah.
Nice. No, I like it. Cool. Yeah, great answers. Thanks for going through everything thoroughly.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
a lot of really good
And
stuff.
that was actually a great exercise, because basically when I was like typing in 2 minutes, and I had like 2 minutes, I have to sit fast, and that's why the ideas are popping up on how you can do that. Because before that, I was like 2 months is just thinking about that, like 1 minute a day, and
Yeah, yeah.
and it brings me nowhere, nowhere. So just, yeah.
Yeah, that's why I like quick exercises, like 2 minutes. Like, it's not going to be perfect, and that's fine. Just put like free of whatever you think is best. And it's wrong sometimes, and that's fine. And it's just like, but in 10 minutes, you've figured out a lot more about this idea. And I think, like, we did this exercise, but I think this is, like the framework that you want to be thinking about, on those things. So anyways, I see we have
Yeah.
2 more questions from Twitter. We can probably do that and then start to wrap it up, unless there's a.
I have a lots of mind
Oh,
questions. If
perfect,
you
perfect,
like,
perfect.
yeah, yeah. If you like, give me some time. So let's go with Twitter and then mine, because
Perfect.
I have, yeah.
Sounds good.
Okay.
From your experience working with early stage companies, what's the single biggest strategic oversight you see founders make in the first 6 to 12 months, and how would you advise them to correct or avoid it? Great question. I don't have a very specific answer, but I can kind of give you some ideas around it. So it sounds like you want to, like, were in the first 6 to 12 months, whereas a lot of their pain points. I think, like, 6 to 12 months is probably going to be post product and raise, and depending on if that's like your what you're good at, and hiring and things like this. So that might be a bit more of a maturing process for some startups, especially if you already have product, and if you did raise already, then yeah, you will have to raise, hire and do a bit more of the traditional kind of corporate stuff. And if your founder isn't aligned with that, or if your founder is more of an engineer growth person and doesn't like a lot of that stuff, then that might be, tricky to navigate. But obviously there's ways around it. What else in the first 6 to 12 months? I think one of the most important things that you should do in the beginning, I don't know if it's 6 to 12 months, but it's just like validate. This is, definitely before product, but validate your assumptions as fast as possible. So, like, don't just assume that people want your product, and that the people that you've identified want your product, but really get those assumptions out and test them as fast as possible. And you can do things like, hey, let's use a example, like a large course on learning about crypto, right? It's not a venture idea, but just as an example. So I'm selling a course on crypto and learning about blockchain. I have a landing page. I don't actually have the course made yet, but I made it look like it. And then, I have a buy now button, and then that button just goes to, hey, it's not ready yet, but put your email in, and we'll send it to you. So that way, before even developing a course, you can figure out if there's demand for your product, and you can start to market it without having to spend a bunch of time. So that type of mindset is important in trying to, I'm assuming that people are going to want this course, but do I know? I don't know. Let's go test it out and see if that's true. So yeah, that figuring out your assumptions in the beginning and testing them out are really key, and doing that as fast as possible, because you're going to probably pivot, is important.
Okay. Let's go. Yeah. Next question.
Next question. We'll do our best to launch on mainnet within the hackathon timeline. Would you be interested in testing our product? Yeah, sure. Happy to. Andrew, if you want to send me later on, if talk to Andrew,
Yeah.
and
I
I'm
know the
happy to.
guys. Yeah, I know the guys. I'll send it to you. So all good, all good. So, do me a favor. Don't be easy on them. Just go and say them what are their flaws.
I
They
think
have
that's
to know it's a student project. So yeah, and they are like quite eager, and they have the sparks in their eyes. So yeah, but they have to face the brutality of the world. That's
good. I think the kind of culture we're building in the Lucid Drakes is like brutal honesty, because we care about each other. So I'm
yeah,
going to be critical with you so that I can help you,
yeah,
because you're doing people a disservice if you're not being honest with them and telling them that their idea is great when you know it's shit. And that's only they will find that out. They're just going to find that out later. So that I can promise honesty.
yeah. Awesome. Say
There's question here
another
from
question.
Vibes.
Yeah.
Dan, for projects that are looking for fundraising, should Lucid Drake's Twitter and submit a form? Yeah. So if anyone here is interested in raising capital, thanks. Vibes is also a council member for the Lucid Drakes, and very actively involved in Lucid Ventures. So thanks for the reminder. If anyone's raising capital, just go to Lucid Drake's Twitter, and in our link tree, you'll have the Airtable form to submit to Lucid Ventures. So, and then we'll be in touch after that. But if you have a good idea, and you really align with this presentation, and you think this idea makes sense, and you have a good team and cool product and solution, let's chat. Happy to talk.
Yeah, but please prepare yourself. You won't have like another chance in like at least a year when they forget about you and you can come again. But please get prepared, not just like send the forms because you have an
Yes.
idea.
Please don't just send the forms because you have an idea. This, unfortunately, your reputation matters. So if we see the same name sending
Yeah.
random ideas all the time, we're probably, not just us, but a lot of people probably won't listen to you. So I
Yeah.
just sent the Airtable link in the chat here. So if anyone's
Okay.
raising, they can
Okay,
go
yeah,
for it.
I'll forward this to the Twitter, and please join the please join the Lucid Drakes on Twitter. Ksenia, if you can just show us hashtag like the tag of Lucid Drakes Twitter so people can join.
Thank you.
Yeah, and can you show us the previous questions about the pin?
Yeah, sorry if I missed that one.
No, that's okay. We're just talking. So.
Should deepen projects ever bother pushing the decentralized angle to mainstream users, or is it smarter to hide the crypto stuff until they're hooked? Really, it depends on if they care. If users don't care about decentralization, it can still be a feature. You just don't have to highlight it as much. You should be highlighting things that your customers care about, and talk about those things. So it's really knowing your customer, what they like, what they don't like, what's problems they're solving, and you should communicate in a way that they will be attracted to that. If decentralization fits in that box, then perfect. If it doesn't, no need to. Yeah, hopefully that makes sense.
Yeah.
What's the most brutal lesson you've learned about making decentralization actually matter to normies? Interesting question. Unfortunately, most people care about decentralization after something bad has happened to them, or if like their account got frozen on Coinbase or something, or on their bank, and they're like, oh, maybe this actually matters. It's hard to understand the value of that without, like, especially if you live, in a nice country with access to financial instruments. It's very easy to kind of be like, oh, well, this works great, and and there's no downsides to this. And why would I want things decentralized when I can call customer service? But as we all know, that's not necessarily the case. And it's hard for normal people to normies to really grasp the value of that. So I don't think if decentralization is your unique proposition for that's the only major value, it's going to be really hard to sell that to people unless they really care about it.
Okay.
I got about 10, 15 minutes I can do extra here if we wanted to roll into your questions, if that's cool.
Yep. I want. So my first question would be like, what's the biggest red flag you see in like early stage Web3 startup ideas, like, and how can the teams catch it up? And when you see the idea and say like, yeah, hell no, this like won't work in 1,000 years. From your experience.
Yeah, like general red flags. I mean, one big red flag is don't put advisors on your deck that aren't actually advisors, or people that on your deck that I'm trying to think of like something general. Make sure your valuation is realistic. That's typically one of the first things that, VCs will look at is just what's the valuation. And then they're going to immediately kind of bucket that into, like the question earlier, like how much do you need to get ready to raise? Well, it's really going to depend on your valuation. So making sure your valuation is sensible is really important. The way the founder communicates is like arguably one of the most important things, actually. I think, ultimately you're betting on people to execute this idea. Ideas are free. Everyone has ideas. Executing the idea is the hardest part. So ultimately you're betting on people. And I think if you're a founder and you're very defensive and you're not good at criticism, I think that's a very big red flag off the bat. So like if you're very defensive and if you're not getting criticism right, and you're just defending and it's kind of hostile, that's a huge red flag. So I would say that one probably, if anything, if I had to pick one.
Also, do you as in Lucid Ventures, are you working with advisors? For example, there is like advisors, friends that just like popping up to you and saying like, "Hey, I have this great project. I can pitch it to you. Like, I'm advising them. Like, can you check it out or something like that?"
I mean, the advisor can approach us if we have a relationship already, but then we'd be talking to the founder. Ultimately.
Okay, so like
the advisor's not going to be. Yeah, the advisor's not going to be like he might open the door, but ultimately we're Lucid Forge in the works. Stay tuned. Vibes is giving all the cookies.
Lucid Forge. Okay, so what can you give us like a few words on what that?
We want to find a way to provide a lot of value to startups, and the Forge is going to be the way that we're going to do that.
Okay. So please, those who are still not following the Lucid Drakes on Twitter, hit the follow button because Lucid Forge is in the works. So yeah, so we have to be. So please stay tuned and check for the news. Like I'm sure it's going to be some great stuff.
Yeah, no, it'll be fun.
Yeah. Okay. Oh yeah! Before we forget, this is like QR code to mint the NFT. Reminder about this great workshop, because we have like almost more than 1,000 views already live, and that's quite a lot. We beat our records, so basically, Lucid Drakes are more famous than we expected, and that's like huge. That's super huge. Yeah, thanks you guys, for that. Yeah, this is great. Yeah, so two more questions for me. Like, guys, you just scan the. I see Aleftina in the chat in the Twitter. So yeah. Welcome.
Hi, Aleftina.
Hi, Aleftina. She's bringing probably a new Lucid baby.
Yeah.
With her. So yeah. Lucid Babies NFTs, like for
Yeah, yeah.
future Lucid Drakes
The
members.
family's growing.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, so guys, please scan the QR code, mean the NFT. I'm sure this will be a great reminder. So yeah, we will have the recordings of this workshop. If you wanna like rewatch this or show it to your friends, don't hesitate. It's gonna be on kumeka.team/education. We will send the link, like upload the recordings and send the link there. Before we wrap up things, I want to ask like probably two more questions, if you may,
Cool. Yeah,
or maybe
perfect.
like yeah,
We can do two. Yeah.
yeah. Can you share like some example of Web3 projects that really surprised you by actually solving some traditional problem well? Is there like any?
I think immediately what comes to mind is Helium. I think I really love Deepin, and I think Helium did something not only different, but they really took Web3 and they're using that decentralized technology to make a genuinely better product that you couldn't do elsewhere. And I think that the idea of decentralizing the tower system for phones and giving that in the hands of people, that idea is huge and it's crazy, but it actually works. It makes the product cheaper for people. So like I said, solve real world problems, and you need not just a small improvement but a drastic improvement, 10x improvement. And I think they're a great example of that. Obviously go to market and other things that factor into this, but the fact that they can bring phone plans not just 20% cheaper, but like half more, to these areas that wouldn't necessarily have the same connectivity, I think is huge. So I think that's like a really kind of a great one that kind of came out of left field. They didn't do some type of trading, platform, a DEX or something traditional. They came in with this like, really, and they've been here for a long time, obviously. But yeah, it's really, I love their project, and I love Deepin as a whole. It's a really cool space.
Yeah, that's actually great. As former Akash employee, Akash network employee, that actually Aleftina also like give award for me to Akash, and they like hired me. Yeah, that's like yeah, the pin projects are great. Okay, my last question, and we can wrap up things. So, what's one Web3 trend you think is overrated, and one you think is like that we are sleeping on still? It's just.
Okay, overrated. I think the easy one is to say gaming.
Okay.
But I'm gonna
Not
pick
the
a.
memes, not the memes, but the games.
I
Yeah.
think, yeah. Okay, well, yeah. I don't even consider meme coins really much of a category. To be
Okay, got
frank,
it.
I think AI is probably overhyped. I think there is a lot of value there. I think there's just a lot of experimentation that's left, and probably an over exaggeration on that side in terms of. Um, I still think AI is going to provide a lot of value, and it's going to be really interesting. I think just most of the attention's on that right now, and I think there's that leaves gaps for other areas. So it's extremely competitive AI. I would not want to be building in that just because of how competitive it is. Or if you want to build it, like get ready. I think areas I would focus on. I like stable coins. I like DPIN. Consumer applications, right? I want to see people starting to use Web3 outside of financial applications. So, yeah, things like Moonwalk, which is one of our first investments, which is really like a walk and earn type of thing without this Ponzonomics around it. It's just like, hey, you deposit USDC, you walk. If you finish all your walks, you're getting your money back, and then you'll get a bit extra. So I think like
Okay.
Moonwalk is a really interesting use case. And yeah, I want to see more ideas like that where it's, yes, there's payments, there's crypto integrated, and like the only way to make this happen is via crypto because of the kind of uniqueness of its tech. But getting regular people like walking is really cool challenge. I think that is they're doing, but like I wouldn't necessarily have thought Web3 would be in this niche. So yeah, that's probably where I'm more interested in right now.
So this is so I have an idea for the website project. So it's a karaoke. So you think you just sing a song. You just deposit USDC, then you think a song, and if it's like less than 90% like of quality, then you don't have your money. But if it's like more than 90%, you can get like your money and a big extra. So like learn how to think. Like this.
Yeah. It's like Moonwalk, but for singing. I would lose all my
Yeah.
money.
Yeah, me too. But I would try.
Yeah.
Like. Okay, thank you, Dan. That was actually super great workshop, super valuable. I think our community like gets lots of insights, and basically, I think I'm gonna rewatch this for sure. It was really great. Thank you for your time, and thank you, Lucid Drakes, for coming up to this workshop with Kumeka team. And if you have like another last words, please, like, or
Yeah, for
some.
sure. I think I love Kumeka. I was working with Alatina while she was getting this set up a couple years ago, and really happy to see that you guys thrive. I'm here for you guys. Happy to help where I can. I really hope to see more of your team soon, and hopefully make it one day to Ukraine. I definitely want to get out there soon, or as soon as I can, anyways. And would love to meet everyone in the flesh. But yeah, really happy to help where I can. Lucid Drakes is the community for founders and investors who really want to boost their network and be integrated within a network of people that are really powerful and can get shit done in the Solana ecosystem. So that's interesting to you. We'd love to have you join. If you're a startup founder and looking for help, support, we are busy, but always here to help. So would love to come back and give some new workshops or other ideas. But this was great. Really appreciate you guys taking the time, and we'll definitely do this again.
Yeah, and guys, and if you're are you coming to the Crossroads, right?
Yeah, I'll be Crossroads. Yeah.
Yeah, so Dan's gonna be in the Crossroads. So if somebody from our community or everyone would be on the Crossroads, find Dan, say hello from Kumeka team, and just like change a few words. That would be great. Made a photo, and that would be awesome.
Yeah,
anyway,
I'll be speaking at who from your team is going to Crossroads?
I don't know yet. Maybe Karina
Okay.
again, because like we are like she is our travel girl. She was in Paris and then something like that. Probably she will.
Cool. Yeah, let me know. Happy to say hi, and we're gonna have a Lucid Drake event in Crossroads too. It's a private networking event, but should be a lot of fun.
Great. And you will be speaking on the Crossroads as well, yes?
Yeah, I'll be talking.
Oh, that's awesome.
Startups.
Yeah, so awesome. Yeah, so don't miss a chance. Check them on the Crossroads. And thanks everyone who joined our stream. It's like 1,130 people. That's quite a lot. That's wow. That's lots of views. And have a nice evening to people in Europe, and have a good morning to people in Canada and USA.
Thank you.
Thanks everyone for watching, and bye bye.
See you guys. Thank you.
See you guys.